from the Boxing TV studios. Your host, Ranger. Information may cause headaches to hates or biased casual fan. The host that gives you facts with very little feelings. From the city of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali, the man who floats like a butterfly and stings like a bee, Louisville, Kentucky. It's showtime.
Welcome once again to Raw Boxing TV. I want to thank those of you that have taken time to join me today. Major Keep Boxing in the building. What's going on, my brother? Transcendent Sports. Thank you for being here one more time. Definitely got to talk about some things. Definitely got to talk about some fights that are not going to be taking place, fights that I was looking forward to. We're definitely going to be going into some subjects that might be a little touchy, but let it be known from now on that this will probably be the last time I touch up on this subject unless they get out of hand all over again. Because boxing's got a lot of good things going on. I think it's time we need to start putting more time towards those things. Don't get me wrong, if there's false accusations, they must be talked about. They must be talked about, period. Can you guys hear me fine, or do I need to raise the volume up on the mic a bit more? If y'all can hear me fine, then we'll go ahead and we'll allow a few more minutes just to allow people to tune in. Just remind you to hit that thumbs up as you come in, man, just so YouTube can start sending these notifications out. It's been a heated week in the YTBC, for sure. It's been a week where we are seeing two sides to every story. And no, I'm not talking about the Prince song. Two sides for every story. No. What's up? D-Style in the building. But it's been a week loaded with necessary information that we've been needing, that we've been having. And I'm going to slightly go over them. I'm going to slightly go over what our missions are. I'm going to slightly go over some of our thoughts. I know D-Style and I are going to disagree when it comes to Lomachenko and Nakatani, but that's part of the YTBC. And I got a bone to pick with D-Style. Yes, I do, sir. I don't like the way he's talking about the Britain Hammer, Joe Joyce. You're going to have to put some love on that name. Put some respect on that name, D-Style. You got to put some respect on that name, my brother. No, definitely, guys. Let's go ahead and start. Just out of respect for those that are here. I know I'm not even... I wasn't even supposed to do a live, really. I've been so busy this week. I contemplate. I'm like, should I go live? What should I do? But hey, you know what? You guys are here. You guys are showing the support. So we're going to put the train forward. We're going to go ahead and get this show on the road, man. But definitely, look, it's really interesting to see how things have been popping up in boxing lately, especially this week. Before I go into the fights, the Lomachenko Nakatani, before I go into the cancellation of the Joe Smith fight due to his opponent having COVID, I definitely do want to get some things out. I definitely do want to talk about a few things because I definitely saw some things this week in the YTBC where opened my eyes about a lot of things. We just really need to talk about it. Hopefully, and I do mean hopefully, G Funky in the building. Everybody subscribe to that channel right there. Hammer Joyce, you better believe that, D-Style. You better believe that. And look, I'm going to email a few things, the link. Don't feel forced to join. If you do not have time, I understand. I'm also a very busy guy. So if you all don't have time, don't join. But I'm going to talk about you guys. And I will feel more comfortable doing so if you guys are here than me doing so and then you guys are not here. So split a second with the boy here while I send these emails. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, this week was a very good week in my opinion. This week, and excuse my voice, I woke up a long time ago, but I'm still in that lazy stage where I just want to be a couch potato for about 5 hours. So, but for 10 years, we've only heard one side of the story. Let me get this. G Funky, I can't find your email, homie. LT in the building. I'll probably be dropping the link. I mean, if not D style, you can forward it to G Funk. But listen, let's go into this. I want everybody to do the same thing I'm doing. Look, it's a tea to calm my nerves. It's a tea to calm my temper. Let me show you how much effort I'm doing. I haven't eaten. The wife made me a beautiful sandwich and I haven't touched it because I'm about to go into this and I don't want to eat and then go into these things. This week, let's start with this. This week, and I recommend everybody to go to G Funky and his channel. They hosted Gabriel Montoya. Ooh, that was a heated episode of Uncensored. G Funky Boxing. That's the channel right there in the comments. Go to his channel and you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, who is Gabriel Montoya? Gabriel Montoya is the writer that covered the entire case of Margarito's hand wrapped. And I'm simply retelling the story for those that are subscribed to me and are not subscribed to G Funky and don't know that this happened. I absolutely not only want to recommend that you subscribe to that channel, but that you go and check that out. You definitely do have to do that. Why? Because there's never enough room for information. Did that come out right? Yeah. There's always enough room for information, I mean. It doesn't matter which way you want to steer the ship. Info. Bring it to me so that once I have it, I can do whatever I please with it. But bring me the info, nevertheless. It doesn't matter how you feel about it. It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter whether you like what you're hearing or not. It just doesn't matter. Think about it. It's info. Info that was necessary in order for us to have an evil playing field when it came to coming up with our conclusion in this case. For 10 years, we've only heard one side of the story. For 10 years, we've seen HBO take advantage of a situation to create ways in which to sell a fight. For 10 years, a man's career has been destroyed and reputation has been destroyed only with one side of the story. And mind you, before I say the name of the fighter, by no means do I think he's innocent. By no means do I think he's an angel, but also by no means do I think he is the devil he was portrayed to be. And that's a fact. Gabriel Montoya was the guy that covered the entire case in the Margarito hand wrap. In the case where, like I said, for 10 years, we only heard one side of the story. Eddie, que hola, mi brother. Welcome, my friend. We're going to be talking about some good fights coming up here. We're clarifying some things when it comes to some of the things we've heard in boxing for many years. But listen, man, even I fell for the hook, okay? If you go back in my archives, I ain't going to delete these videos. Absolutely not. I'm not going to portray something that I'm not or someone who I'm not. But even I fell in that hook. If you go back to my archives, you might find some videos of me bashing Margarito. All we were doing was receiving one side of the story. The Margarito put some blocks in his hands. The Margarito had plaster in his hands. Puerto Rican Rome in the building. What's up, my brother? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Andres Rodriguez, what's up, my brother? Always good to have you here. The Margarito and Capetillo had this planned out. They had to have known. Well, how many fights have they actually won due to this plasters? Yes. It's something that needed to be talked about once the other side of the story was available. And look, we got to appreciate G Funky and D Style for putting forth the effort and months of work in order to get this guest on their channel. We just do. Because once again, I'll tell you, it doesn't matter how you feel about the situation. There's always plenty of room for more information. Always. Always, guys. Gabriel Montoya, I'm going to paraphrase because the interview was long. I was driving. I was focusing on a snowstorm, ice storm. Everything was messed up. I was on my way to Buffalo, New York. Roads are shut down. I got trucks crashing around me, cars hitting the ditch. So I was focusing on the road while at the same time I'm listening to these guys, right? So I'm going to sort of paraphrase some of the things. And G-Funk or D-Style, I think D-Style's got the link. Just in case I say something that's out of hand, feel free to jump in. Look, this is what I'll do. I'll put the link on the chat, but nobody calls in except G-Funky or D-Style just in case I say something that wasn't in a line with what the guest was saying. The first section that I sort of put my attention on it, and this was very crucial to me because there was a lot of things involved in this, is Jesus M. Welcome to the building, brother. Thank you for being here. How he went on to speak about the late Nassim Richardson, and trust me, it's a bitter taste for me to speak on him right now because I kind of feel like I'm gonna accuse him when in reality it's not my intention. And unfortunately, the brother has passed. There's no way he can defend himself. So it's gonna be kind of weird for me to talk about Nassim Richardson. Just put it that way. But we have to because he's part of the case. He's the initiator of the accusations. And it wasn't the first time. So he started talking about how Nassim Richardson was the creator of this accusation. Look, we all remember the videos. We all remember the scandal leading up to the fight with Mosley. We all thought that, hey, he had blocks under his hand wraps because that's in fact what the wording was when it was used on HBO. It gave us the perception that, yet they had created a block of plaster, and this block of plaster was placed under the hand wrap, and that's what the man was using to fight everybody. And then when you hear that, of course, and me being younger and a bit more ignorant at the time, when you hear that, and when you're passionate about the sport, when you're passionate about having a clean sport, and you hear all of these accusations being brought to you in the way that they were brought out, the first thing you think is he needs to go to jail. I buy houses. Welcome to the building, brother. Salute to you. We're going to chop up on this. Fight's coming up, but there's some things we got to get out of the chest first. Once again, I recommend you to go to G Funky Boxing channel. You see him right here in the chat. Make sure you go check that interview out because it was full of info. They talked about how Nassim Richardson found these blocks, created these accusations. His story was continuously changing. Didn't show up to testify, I believe. And again, there's the link, G Funky and D Style. If any of you If I say something that's not, just feel free to jump in because I'm paraphrasing. He didn't show up to testify when he was supposed to, changed his story several times, only for us to find out that the quote unquote plaster block wasn't even a block. I'll show you this right now. I wish I had some hand wraps ready here, but I don't. So picture this. Are you seeing this? This is a cloth to clean glasses, right? This right here. Now picture it being cut like this and maybe that wide. Picture it being that wide, right? About the size of a knuckle, of a hand, right? Only to find out that plaster block that never had no plaster tracing in it, that has some tracing of I don't know what chemical, that in order to find it, they had to go under a microscope. And once they found it under a microscope, it came up to be just the amount of like a pinch of salt. Only to find out that that's what was in that little insole. That insole was designed to protect your hands. Not every fighter uses it. Some fighters go through the journey of once they fight, they come out and their knuckles are all peeled and everything. Some fighters do come up with some ways to protect their knuckles from peeling once they finish fighting. But apparently, this was an old one. It had been used. It had been wet. It had blood on it. It had hardened, right? It had hardened. And so once it fell out, this thin, that even if it was plaster, listen to this. Even if it was a thin layer of plaster, a thin layer of plaster. I just really want to make sure I show you guys this. Jamel, get me a sock. Get me a sock. I'm going to show you guys this because I felt that visualization was missing on this. So I'm going to try my best to do so that you guys can understand what was really being talked about, because this is very serious. Because what stops this from happening again? All over again in boxing? Nothing. Nothing can stop it. So again, I'm not saying the man was innocent. To me, he wasn't innocent of everything he was being accused. But he wasn't the monster that he was portrayed to be. Watch this. With a sock. Picture this. Now imagine this being as thin as a business card, right? Keep that in mind. This, even if it was plaster, let's say it will go over the knuckles, man, right? Possibly you will have a few layers of gauze there, then the insole, and then you will go, yes, ladies and gentlemen, my sock wrap. And then you will put the entire padding, or the women's tampon, as we call it in boxing. This is the 99-cent store socks, guys, from the Chinese neighborhoods. Then you put the damn padding over it and you wrap over it. And then you put the gripping bridge under it that goes into the gripping anchors. Even if that was plaster, a very thin layer of plaster, which still illegal, but not the face-destroying device that he was made out to be. That thin layer of plaster would have had at least 4 rolls. 4 rolls. Give me a second, G-Funk, and I'll let you in. 4 rolls of the actual knuckle protecting padding. On top of the knuckle protecting padding, you would have had 3 to 4, sometimes 6 turns of gauze. And then on top of that, you have the taping that is designed to shape in the wraps, to hold the wraps in place, right? When you start hearing these allegations, and then when you compare to the actual evidence of the court case, when you compare how this quote unquote plastered blocks were handled in the wrong way, handled by Mosley's lawyers. It went away from the commissioner. Then he came back to the commissioner in a box, handed to them by Mosley's lawyers. When you hear all of these things, it has to, if you're a reasonable human being, if you're willing to see clarity in this whole thing, you have to be like, wait a minute. If I was a defendant in a court case, and the prosecution somehow took all of my evidence, kept it for themselves, I don't know what they did. Who knows what they did? And then came back and gave it to my lawyer in a box and then presented it in court. What would my case look like? So you have to start using your imagination here. It wasn't a block of plaster. There was never any plaster. It was a thin layer of inserts that, yes, granted, it shouldn't have been there because it was hardened, because it was used. They should have used a brand new, a fresh one. Again, I'm saying shouldn't have been there, but it wasn't a block of plaster. G-Funk and D-Style, welcome to the building, brothers.
Saludos, Raw Boxing.
What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. Since you guys were the host of this interview, I just felt more comfortable having you two here. And I advise everybody to go to G-Funky channel and check that interview out. Also check out D-Style Boxing. Because at the end of the day, guys, I'm paraphrasing like I told you. I was on my way to Buffalo, New York, and I just didn't want to give the wrong information per se to you guys. So before we move on to the fights, guys, if you can elaborate a little more on this to my subscribers that are not subscribed to you guys, they have not had the opportunity of seeing this. If you can elaborate this, G-Funky, take it away, then D-Style.
Sure.
Well, I mean, I think you're doing a pretty good job so far, man. So, I mean, if you want to continue to cook, go ahead, brother.
Okay, so basically what I was bringing D-Style, unless you have something to say.
Well, look, what I wanted to talk about is the natural human emotion to listening to something contrary to what you strongly already believe, right? And the reason I don't really get upset or mad at people that have a strong reaction to this, because I did the same thing. You know what I mean? I did the exact same thing.
It was a very emotional
I literally said, what are you doing defending this motherfucker? We already know he did. That's how I reacted to it. You know what I mean? That was my first natural instinct, my first natural reaction, my primal instinct, in other words, is always the first thing that kicks in when I really believe something before I take a step back and think about it. But once I took a step back and thought about it, I went through stages, right? And it's like an onion. You got to peel it in layers, right? You got to look at everything step by step. If you just say, no, well, you know what? Doesn't matter. He cheated. He got suspended. He cheated. End of story, right? If that's all you're going to say and you don't want to talk about the rest, then maybe this conversation isn't for you at the moment. Like maybe processing that information is something you're not ready for yet. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be some emotional connection, whatever it is that you have to the situation. You know what I mean? What I will say is this, to let you continue. I went from he definitely did it to, well, I don't know, let me go ahead and take a look at that, to, well, it wasn't what we thought and they exaggerated, but the motherfucker still cheated too. He might have cheated, but my God, when I look back, like, that's a big exaggeration, you know? And the reason I'm glad that you're a person talking about this is because you've wrapped your hands professionally. You've wrapped people's hands professionally. And I'm sure, just like Montoya specifically explained, because what I want people to understand, right? This is a guy that we took months to get on. Months, guys. It wasn't just like, hey, man, you want to jump on? No, like this guy has a career. He's busy. He's almost never available. And he made time out of his schedule to come on and talk about something that he knows is going to piss people off. He knows is not a popular thing to say, especially not on YouTube, right? He knows all that. And you have to think about that for a moment, right? So the dude comes on and he explains in detail, if you just stopped and listened, to another version of the story that you were told by HBO, the Don Raphaels of the world, and a lot of other guys out there. You know what I mean? So a lot of reporters that were not at the hearing. If you listen to the ones that were at the hearing and stuff like that, or they have people at the hearing, they have a different take. Like it's from the Doug Fishers to, of course, Montoya, right? Like they have a completely different take because they were there, because it's a whole different ball game in court than talking to some reporter for HBO. It's a whole different ball game, right? And but not only that, I still need people to explain to me, because this is the thing we keep falling into, right? While the insert was illegal, so therefore he's a cheater, so therefore, I'm going to continue to believe what I believe. You could do that if you want, okay? But don't act like you didn't believe, like I did, that the dude had full plaster on his wraps.
That's what I believe. That's what I believe for 10 years. I didn't believe that it was full plaster. I believed that what he had was a pre-molded plaster block.
Right.
And then he had his
like something like hardened in there that could do some
device
damage.
to destroy your face, pretty much. That's what I believe he had.
Yeah, my interpretation of it was 10 years ago, however long ago it was that it happened, that he literally had his hands like dipped in plaster or something. Like they made it seem so bad, like it just, man, it was bad.
Like, it made me question everything, Raw. And now I understand why people believe Glovegate so easily and why they believe anything so easily. Like, it made me just question, like, how the fuck you get plastered? Like, it made me question the commissions. Like, it made me question everything, because why wouldn't I?
Correct.
But why wouldn't I question, like, what the fuck were they doing?
And then you start questioning as far as, like, how many fights has he been doing this for? Why hasn't he gotten caught?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You just start questioning all of the correct authorities, all of the system in place in order to prevent this level of corruptions. Because let's face it. Look. I'm just going to speak on experience here. There's always your little tricks that you can do when hand wrapping, when wrapping a hand to get the better out of your punches. Things that are not need to be exposed out here. But the one thing I do want people to take away, because this is the most damaging thought when it comes to this. One, it was never a plaster block. Two, it was a thin layer. As I said, picture this being as thin as a business, and it's not. This is 3 times thicker than a business card. But just picture it in your head. That was placed over Margarito's hands. And over that was placed the padding, the woman's tampon, however you want to call it, depending on the area in which you box out of, however your coach wants to call it. Over your knuckle protecting padding, you get 3 to 4, 6 maybe at most, depending on the laws of the state, turns of gauze. And then you get your anchoring strips in between your finger. It was never a direct plaster block on the man's hand. Ever. Was it an illegal device? Yes. Was it a device that was designed to destroy people's face? No. It couldn't have. It was too thin. It didn't have any plaster. It was just hardened of wear and tear. Was it illegal again? Yes. Was it the skull-crushing device that was portrayed to us by HBO? Never.
Yeah, that's true. And I remember hearing just before the rematch was stopped, Jim Lampley saying, we don't see the same sledgehammer effect on Kodo, you know, I mean, that's just way over exaggerating.
That paints a picture in your head, right? That like that makes you think, and then in return, because when you make an assertion like that, especially a personality on TV, then people start to repeat those things, right? So even I would say these things, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I would. Honestly, like the more I look back on it, and I would say things like, "Yeah, like Margarito, he wasn't even hitting Cotto that hard, and it was just like hurting him hard." But like when you actually look at the fight, I feel the same way I did the first time I saw it. Like he was breaking him down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he was hitting him with uppercuts, well leveraged uppercuts that it was using his all the way from his legs to his hips and and all that shoulder, dropping his shoulder, pop, Right. So it's not like he was just going like this and doing all this damage and all this stuff,
Yeah.
And just so you guys know, I did some research yesterday and I found new angles of the crack, and it looks completely different.
That was definitely my next subject. Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that because I've wrapped hands, I know all about this black mark on Margarito's hands. Right there it is, and you guys can go Google the picture yourself.
Bad angle, but
yeah. Now, the one thing I will tell you is the following: look at the tape, because there's always tape. Look at the stretching of the tape. When put it this way, this is an orange cloth. If I was to come with a knife and make a crack on this orange cloth, when you open it, you're not going to see black. You're going to see orange cloth. The one thing I want you to take away from that supposed crack is if it was in fact a crack, when you open it, it's not supposed to be black. It's going to be white due to gauze under it, right? There is gauze under the tape, and that is very clear. Very, very clear.
Like layered on, right? Like
yes. Yeah. So that I never did fail for the shadow because that could be anything. Look, when you're wearing some gloves, wear and tear, and you pull them out, a piece of lint may come out attached to it from the inserts of the glove, with most of the time are black, made out of a black synthetic cloth. So I know that this is not very popular. I know a lot of people are not liking what's being said. No, we haven't covered it. Lead up boxing. We're talking about some things that happened this past weekend, and then we'll jump into the Lomachenko, Nakatani, and other things. But we got about 5 more minutes left on this subject, and then we're gonna jump in to the upcoming fights. G Funky, is this the link to the video here?
No, it's a video of our partner Dave from Leaving in the Ring, who was actually at the Margarito camp for Mosley, showing him training and getting his hands wrapped out in public in front of everybody.
Definitely. I will show that. We'll show that. But look, guys, I'm personally not here defending Margarito to be innocent. I'm personally here trying to show you a truth that was hidden from us, a truth that was mishandled in court. If I say that G Funky punched this style in the mouth, and you ask me the same question 450 times, I'm going to tell you this style punch G Funky in the mouth. I'm not going to switch my story every time I'm asked the questions. I'm not going to add or subtract the story every time I'm asked a question. And definitely when I'm called to testify, that's the same answer I'm going to give. That was the case with the late Nassim Richardson. Not only did it change his story, added to the story, subtracted from the story in different interviews, but then when it came time to really put the hammer on the coffin and nail this forever, the man never showed up. Why? Only he could have been able to answer that. And unfortunately, and I do mean this, unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Now, he's notorious for this. Remember, coaches are experienced when it comes to creating a psychological barrier in your fighter's opponent. as you're there, you have the power to disturb that mentality of your opponent. And the very first victim was Tito Trinidad. Tito Trinidad never in history, in my opinion, has cheated. But he was labeled as a cheater just because the Pops only knew one way to rob the hands. And that way was an occurrence to the, I believe, the New York State Athletic Commission. And Nassim Richardson exposed that, and they made him look like a cheater. But that was not the case.
And bro, I grew up with people saying Trinidad had casts in his hands. He would stack illegally. I heard those things.
Oh, I believe everybody that follows boxing has heard those things. So at the end of the day, guys, no, he wasn't innocent, Margarito, because in fact, there was a device there that shouldn't have been there. It should have been fresh. Not the device itself was illegal. The fact that it was already used and hardened, and when I say hardened, really it's not a big of a deal. It's just, imagine a piece of fabric full of blood and sweat and water, and then he dries hardened all of a sudden, right?
Can I answer Notch's question really quick?
Who?
A Notch in the chat. He's asking, may I ask the purpose of this conversation if what he had in his raps was illegal? No offense to anyone. Okay, well, let me just say this. If somebody was coming out saying D-Style raped a woman, okay, and I did slap her ass while she walked by a Walmart, that's still wrong, right? Like people should still say, hey, man, it's fucked up. You just slapped her ass, like, just like that, like you sexually assaulted her, right? But everyone's saying I raped her. Even though what I did was wrong, you don't think it's important to like point out the fact that it wasn't a rape? That's why it's important. If somebody says, hey, D-Style strangled and choked a dog to death, like, man, it's fucked up. No, but really what it was, I just backed up my car and I ran over the dog. I didn't look at the mirrors in the rearview mirror and make sure there was nothing behind me, and I killed the dog. You could still say that's irresponsible. You should have looked at the mirrors. Be careful when you're backing out the driveway. But I didn't choke and kill the dog. So Margarito didn't have plaster of Paris in the raps.
That's correct.
He was caught with using an illegal insert.
Yeah,
that's why the conversation is being held. And again, you're welcome for the my passionate little thing.
And again, the insert was as thin as a business card, right?
It was described by Montoya, who touched it.
Yeah,
he said it was flexible.
Yeah, this is in reference to the interview by the reporter that covered the entire case. It was as thin as a paper, as a business card. It was placed under the man's hand, and then over it was the actual design padding that we all put to protect our knuckles. Our defense here is not of Margarito. Our defense is the difference between a paper-thin insert in comparison to a plaster block, which was the image that was sold to us for 10 years. And now that we had the opportunity to listen to the other side of the story, I'm glad I did. Again, if you want to see that full interview, G Funky Boxing Style has that interview, and I truly want to appreciate this guys for that. And the other thing I want to clarify, Margarito was never suspended. His license was never revoked as a full spectrum. Margarito was stopped against Mosley. Every time a fighter gets stopped, he is put on suspension by the doctor. But yes, Margarito was not only suspended by the doctor, but because now there was a pending investigation, they were going to keep him suspended until the investigation developed a little more. His license to fight in the United States were never revoked. It was only in California.
Yeah, and it was like you said, temporary investigation.
Had they found that night, listen, let me tell you guys something, and this loss go way before the Margarito hand block gate, if we want to call it. Had Margarito been found with a block, a literal plaster block, as he was told to us, that night, the fight would have not taken place. Let's start with that. And that night, the men would have left in handcuffs to a federal holding block or to a regular jail until they
or even then, Raw. Like Resto didn't go to jail that night when they discovered the gloves, right?
Resto
They
didn't
didn't
have
take it to lab. They found shock in the gloves.
Yeah.
Okay. They replaced Horser with shock.
Yeah.
Right. He went to jail, guys. He did jail time.
And the trainer, Panama Lewis, was
like
they're both
the punishment for Plaster of Paris is not, oh, you're going to be suspended for a year. No, okay, see, he was guilty. That's not the punishment.
No, it's prison. It's federal.
Yes,
it's federal. And like I said, those laws, Resto didn't go through those laws because they weren't implemented as harsh as they are now. You know.
Yeah, and it's
that fight, the Resto fight, man, the Resto situation brought forth so much more regulations and restrictions.
Yes.
To the way that a boxer gets his hand wrapped, to the way that the commission needs to inspect everything, to the way that everybody's got an eye on what's going on. So I just want to make sure that people realize that no, he was never suspended in the entire country due to this plaster block. It was never a plaster block. It was just a California suspension. It was never a plaster block. Otherwise, he would have been right now, so to speak, probably still sitting in a federal penitentiary. And that's just it, guys. And why was the insults illegal? Because they were already used and they needed to be fresh.
And I don't condone that, by the way.
No, I don't condone it either. And I don't like the
same for me
by the trainer. So that's it, man. That's all I wanted to do. G-Funk,
I want to say this real quick too before you wrap it up.
We're actually going to jump into the next subject.
Yeah. The Resto, the Assault in the Ring documentary is actually playing right now on Showtime. Just take a look at that, and you'll see once they set up the trial through the commission and all that stuff in New York. A former member of the New York State Athletic Commission, he basically just said, "Hey, look, we had to do this because we just had to go through the motions. We already knew, it was an open and shut case because of what they found. That was never the case with Margarito. They literally had to put the wrap or the insert under a microscope to see what was on it. If it was a damn block, there'd be no point in even putting it under a microscope.
Exactly,
0 point."
Exactly. That's a good way to put it, and a good way to illustrate it. It was never, ever, my people. It was never a block. Ever.
Dude, you can take. I dare anybody, bro, to take your cell phone, and put it under a microscope to see what's on the surface of it. You're gonna find elements that make a lot of things, including plaster of Paris. Okay.
Correct.
So like this idea that, why was it there? Because this stuff, especially if it's handled by multiple people.
Ignorant box in the building. What's up, brother?
And that's the last point I want to make about it, because I know you want to move on, and I definitely want to talk about that next topic. But it was handled by multiple people. Okay, yes. It was taken to a lab, and it was used, and it was inside a bag, and who knows where it was before.
Contamination.
It could get sulfur on it, guys.
Yeah.
Like sulfur, like I think sulfur is like in white rice.
Correct.
Okay, like and you eat that. It doesn't mean you have plaster of Paris in your stomach. It's just an element that makes plaster of Paris, but it's such a small, minuscule amount. Do you really believe, like, when it got wet, it would seep through the entire wrap and create plaster of Paris? Correct. Come on, just think about it. That's all I'm asking.
Look, in conclusion, guys, to this subject, for those that are listening, one, the video is in G Funky Boxing Style channel. Go check it out. Two, listen to the video with an open mind as an investigator. Don't make your conclusion without having both sides of the story. Two, picture what the man is saying. Don't automatically bring HBO's words to your head and make your conclusion. You got to picture what the man is saying in order to understand what the man is saying. And three, at the end of the day, guys, Margarito is not an angel, but he's definitely not the devil that he was portrayed to be. That's it. That's
right.
And even again, like I said, even if the insole was hard as plaster, it was still a layer so thin and so small that watch this, the minute you take that thin layer and put it in your knuckles, you don't have to punch somebody in the face. Punch your own hand, and that device will crack immediately. And if it's wet to where it's not going to crack, it's going to shape to your knuckles.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be a device that's gonna break your face. Again, illegal. Again, not innocent. My whole point is comparing a paper thin layer to a plaster block, which is completely different. That's just it, guys. So before we move on, it is. So, man, if you two have anything to add on this that I probably left out, take a single minute to do that, and we'll move on to the fight.
I'll just say real quickly, man. Thanks for having me on. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat. I'm gonna roll out. I'm gonna let you guys cook. I gotta cook lunch for my daughter right now.
My brother.
But anybody that wants to check out the video, it's on my channel, G Funky Boxing, here on YouTube. Any questions, you guys could email me, and if you want to come on the show and speak to me about it, you can do that as well. So I'm gonna let my brothers here cook. HCP, let's do it, baby. I'm out. I'll be listening, guys. Thank you.
Remy 22, what's up, my brother? Welcome to the building. Hey, G Funky, man. Thank you for coming on, man. Go ahead and cook something real good
Appreciate
for that little girl.
Thank you.
You know, go ahead and cook as I sit here with my sandwich, not eating my sandwich.
Yeah, really quick, because like you said, people will go watch that video and catch me say a lot of this. But here's what I want to say really quick. I know is my answer to a lot of the things people say about this thing, right? So when Major Key says, calcium sulfate and gypsum, when combined with moisture, creates plaster Paris, I know. Like, I know how plaster Paris is made. I looked that up. The reporter that was on yesterday has looked that up and talked to experts that make plaster Paris, has talked to every single person in the commission that was there, talked to people that are experts in hand wrapping. And the one thing that stands out, bro, is this. There are more effective, and ways to wrap a hand that will make your fighter, which is the purpose of hand wrapping, protect their hand and make the wrap more dangerous, right? Like there's more techniques you could do like that are just far more effective, and it would not have created any like crazy controversy like this. They would have just said, hey, you can't do it that way. Start all over again. You know what I mean? So that's the one thing I want people to understand. Just keep that in mind, right? There was far more effective ways to be deadlier, quote unquote, with the wraps and protect the hands at the same time. And even if caught, would have just been told to start all over again. The problem here is the following, right?
I didn't bring your sandwich, Puerto Rican rum. Sorry, D-Star.
What's that? Okay, all right. Yeah, but I'm getting hungry. I was wondering why I was getting hungry over here, but
hey,
but that's all I wanted to kind of say, man. Like, you know what I mean? I know is my answer. If you still look, you have every right to say, hey, look, motherfucker cheated, and I don't like cheaters no matter what. Okay, that's fine. But but make sure you're accusing them of the right thing. That's all I want to say.
Facts. And look, guys, for those of you that do share subscriptions between D-Style, G-Funky, and I want to clarify something. No, D-Style and Major Key they're not enemies. They not beefing. They just had a misunderstanding. Any grown man can have a misunderstanding and move on, guys. Today, every time you see two grown men having a discussion, that don't necessarily mean that they're mortal enemies. And now they got to come up with videos, shooting at each other and stuff.
I got to beef with you, Raw, about praising Joe Joyce.
I got to beef with you, bro. Hold on. Let me put some mistake here. Look, let's move on.
Sure.
Because I'm tired of you downgrading my boy like that, man. Listen, at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, the British Hammer has been breaking orbitable bones. The British Hammer has been forcing young bucks to quit The British Hammer has evolved a lot in his boxing career, and the British Hammer's doing a lot more that he would have done had he been out there, say, with another trainer right now. Alexander Usyk versus Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce will destroy Alexander Usyk. And you have to live with that, G-Funky. I mean, D-Style.
Come
You
on.
gotta wait for this man, bruh. Hey, look, I know what you're saying. It's a slow style. It might put you to sleep. The jab looks very slow. I know, I get all that. Yes. But the man knows how to create the optical illusion to counter, and you'll never see that jab coming until it's already landing in your face. You cannot deny that. You cannot deny that he knows how to time you with that same jab. Matter of fact, if I do get him here on the channel, I'm going to have you on. I want you to tell him to your...
Is it time to get in the ring with him or something? Like, well,
Go ahead, brother, go ahead. Tell me, explain to me why you hate Joe Joyce before we move on to Nakatani.
Well, let me say this. So,
I mean, I don't mean hate the man. I mean, it's like the style.
You know, the one thing I like about the round table is that we banter a lot. You know how it is with boxing banter. You know what I mean? We like to talk shit, et cetera, right? But here's my problem with that. With people all of a sudden saying it's going to destroy Usyk. First of all, Usyk hasn't lost yet, so I don't understand what people are getting this whole like, oh, I think he's done. Like, I don't know about that. He hasn't even lost a fight, you know. And I'll be honest, I think Chisora would give.
You froze, brother.
I'm frozen,
and now you're good again.
Okay, right. Oh yeah, okay. But I think that, you know, Joyce had a guy that had no head movement, was not moving anywhere.
Stop.
No, whoa. Let me say this.
Go ahead.
He was getting hit with everything. I don't think there's a punch in the book that Joyce didn't get hit with. Now, Granted, we found out he's hard-headed, like literally. You know, we found out he's got a chin, obviously, because this dude's knocking fools out left and right, and Joyce is taking his punches over and over again, right? And we found out that he got a little lucky, bro. Like, look, let me explain. Let me explain. So he's throwing a jab, right? Now, he found, like, when I was watching that fight, I don't know if you were thinking the same thing. I know you were. Like, I'm watching the fight, right? And I'm like, why is this dude, like, turning his jab? You know what I mean?
I gotta do this for you. I got to do this for you. Hold on.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Oh, come on. And then he starts doing this. And now, granted, at the end of the fight, I said, hey, that was kind of genius because it was getting to the target faster, right? And he was hitting the same spot over and over and over again, and that's going to cause damage, right? You could lay somebody down, drop a water on them, right? At some point, it starts hurting. That's a drop of water. This is a big dude we're talking about, Joe Joyce, who was lining that jab, et cetera, but with the exception of some right hands here and there, that's really that was the punch that did all the damage, right? Now I'm saying luck and jest, okay? Don't get me wrong, right? But he got a little fortunate, okay, that the eye socket broke because he was losing the fight, okay? If he never damaged the orbital bone, guys, he would have lost that fight. Hands down, he would have lost that fight.
Yo, hold on. I got to stop you there. Had he not knocked him out, he would have lost the fight.
No. I'm talking about the orbital bone. I'm talking about the damage done to the orbital bone.
You know how many times we've seen fighters losing and knocking his opponents out and winning. That's got to be credited to the fighter.
No, he gets credit. But
the orbital bone didn't get broken by itself. It was broken by the fighter who won the fight.
Well, this guy. You know what I mean?
Correct.
No, but here's... You think he's going to land that punch over and over again on Usyk? This?
Mm-mm.
I don't.
No. Absolutely not. Joe Joyce, I think in your head you still have the fight between Joe Joyce in Usyk when Usyk was a very experienced fighter and Joe Joyce was just now starting in the amateur games. That's not the case anymore. It's not.
Well, one, we can't ignore that because it did happen, right? And that's always going to be in the back of the fighter's head, right? But second, I just think that Usyk is going to be able to constantly move in that fight, right? And I could see him implement a very similar style. No, look, a very similar strategy that Jennings implemented. I felt Jennings won that fight against Usyk.
Oh gosh, stop it!
I felt he won that fight, but it was close, and I have no beef with Usyk winning the fight because you could argue he won the fight, right? But everything Jennings did in that fight, everything, Usyk could do better than Jennings. He's faster on his feet than Jennings. He's got faster hands than Jennings, and I think they punch about the same.
Okay, now
so I think he's gonna have trouble with that.
Here's where I want to get you. And I'm sorry I'm eating and talking, people.
Do what you do, brother.
That's just it. I got to eat and talk.
Yeah.
This is where I want you to go. In your mind. In your, that little corner we have in our brain that's called the matchmaking?
Yeah, okay.
Go to your matchmaking corner.
All Picture
the new Joe Joyce, the one we've been seeing in the past 2 fights specifically.
Salas, yeah.
And picture the fact that all of the opponents you just mentioned that you thought beat Joe Joyce were actual heavyweights, experienced heavyweights, whose bodies are adjusted to the heavyweight, who has taken punches from bigger fighters. Now you're comparing that, you're putting Alexander Usyk, as if he's going to be able to do this for 12 rounds without getting touched by Joe Joyce, right?
Mm-hmm.
My brother, Joe Joyce kicks like a mule. Joe Joyce kicks like a mule. And the thing is, because he's able to take so much punishment, he's always giving you pressure. What I saw on Alexander Usyk, I saw a gas tank that's not big enough to make it 12 rounds with constant pressure. That's what I saw. Oh, the only thing Joe Joyce got to do is cut that ring, throw himself over Usyk for 6 rounds. Wear him out. Put your entire weight against the rope on him. Constantly put that jab. At the end of the day, whether the jab is low or not, you can neutralize angles. And this is something that you're going to, as a matter of fact, I want to leave that out so we can talk about our other beef, because I got beef with you in another fight too.
Oh, shit. We're going to beef tonight, all right?
Bro, I clearly see, and it's boxing. Anything can happen. I just don't see Alexander Usyk beating this Joe Joyce. Take away the Dubois fight. Let's say he never broke. That's not why I'm saying this. I'm simply saying this is a different guy against an Alexander Usyk that's just now making his campaign at heavyweight for the second time. He's not going to be able to handle it. I just don't think so.
So, as you know, heavyweights don't typically rehydrate like that, like the other weight classes, right? Because they don't have a limit. They don't. There's literally no reason to dehydrate. The only fight I ever heard was Stavern said, "Oh, I lost to Wilder because I was dehydrated." Okay, brother, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, right? But I don't know, why did you dehydrate yourself? I don't know, right? But either way, Jennings was like 225 pounds when he fought Joyce. Now, the reason I bring that up is, as you know, the limit at cruiserweight is 200, right?
Yeah.
The guys that Usyk fought when he was the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world, all right, rehydrated, the day after. They probably were anywhere from 212 to 220, 225 because they dehydrated. I'm sorry, rehydrated afterwards, right? So he's about the same size, quote unquote, as a Jennings. Jennings just didn't lose the weight like that, just didn't dehydrate himself like that to make that weight. Okay. It's not impossible for me to picture a small guys that were smaller than Usyk, like a Chris Bird, right? Going the distance with these big dudes, right? Like, it's just not impossible for me to picture that. James Toney was a very small guy, Never got knocked out. You know what I mean? So he was able to go in there against a Samuel Peter, who was a big monster puncher. So we've seen Holyfield, when he was a cruiserweight, by the way, it was 190 pounds, if I'm not mistaken, 190, 195, I believe it was 190. So 190, and then he moved up, right? And he did just fine against now he did lose to Riddick Bowe, in fairness, okay? That was like one of his top, and Lennox Lewis, like the really, really big guys were his big kryptonite, pretty much, right? Probably some of it had to do with the size. The guy that he could kind of match well with, Tyson Boom. Now, unfortunately for Joyce,
ran into a wall. You already ran into
no. Unfortunately for Joyce, I think Usyk's bigger than those guys frame-wise. That's number one. The examples I used, and unfortunately, a big unfortunate thing for Usyk is he is no Riddick Bowe and he is no Lennox Lewis. Okay, not even close. Not right now. Could he be in the future? Maybe, but after 12 fights, this guy's not showing me anything that would make me think he would go 5 rounds with Lennox Lewis. Okay, now here's what I want to say.
Lennox Lewis.
Go back and watch the Jennings fight. You're telling me you're comfortable with the performance that you saw from Joyce in that fight?
No, I'm not.
Because he never came close to knocking Jennings out. All right. Jennings was hanging against the ropes a lot. Joyce was having long periods of time where he wasn't really doing anything because of the movement of Jennings. What do you think is going to happen with Usyk? Usyk's going to be stepping around him, okay? He'll smother some of his work, and he'll also keep it on the outside with the jab. Okay, it's going to be a battle of a jab for a long time. He's going to go a distance, right? Now, whether they give it to him in the cards or not, I don't know, right? But it's going to go the distance, brother. That's what's going to happen.
Listen. All he
has to do is stay on the rope long enough and get out of there, right? Just to give himself that moments in space. That's all he has to do. You know what I mean? There's going to be no holding in this fight because I don't really think we're going to see that in this fight. You know what I mean? But Usyk also, man, he fights at too much of a high pace, I think. Too much of a high pace. And then finally, Chisora is no... I don't know why people have it in their head like he was supposed to stop Chisora. Vitaly Klitschko couldn't stop Chisora.
No.
Why is Usyk going to stop? Why is a smaller Ukrainian going to stop him when the big bad Ukrainian couldn't stop him, right? And I think he did fine in that fight. Personally, I think he had some resistance from Chisora. Chisora gave Dillian White resistance.
Facts.
I like to see. I want to see how Joyce would do against Chisora. I think he would have some problems in some rounds.
I think Chisora's style complements that slow-moving Joyce because Chisora is a very aggressive fighter. That's what a fighter like Joyce wants. He wants you. He doesn't want to go to you and move and chase you. He wants to be stationary, anchored, waiting for you. You know what I mean? No, there is no wall. Watch this. What's going to happen with distance?
You think Usyk's going to be aggressive, bro? You know he ain't going to be aggressive. You're thinking about it now. You're like, what?
No, but I'm talking about a Usyk. I'm talking about an Usyk. I never say he's not going to be able to move. I'm talking about an Usyk that I don't think he will be able to successfully move without getting touched for 12 rounds. I think his gas tank will not handle it for 12 rounds.
He'll be ready.
I think you're
gold medalist.
I think
undisputed cruiserweight champ. You know what I mean? And he has a dream.
On to Nakatani versus Lomachenko.
I just want to say that he's following the footsteps of Evander Holyfield, undisputed cruiserweight champ. Coming for the heavyweight crown. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second round of my beef with D-Style. Because yesterday I heard this man speak the most weirdest thing I've ever heard. That
we need to pose. We need to pose. We need to poster pose. There we go. All right. That'll be a good thumbnail, actually. Go ahead.
Yo. Yesterday, you had the audacity to imply that somehow Lomachenko is just going to destroy Nakatani.
Listen, no, I was balancing the scale because everybody was trashing.
No. Hold on, because this is for you all over again.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Jeez, damn.
There's no way in hell that Lomachenko is going to destroy Nakatani. Lomachenko could not destroy, and granted, he has grown from that fight. Lomachenko could not destroy an Orlando Salido. Couldn't. Lomachenko could not handle the pressure. Lomachenko's angle, which were fresher than they are now because he has adopted more of a professional fight style now instead of a amateur. He was coming fresher from the amateur. So, you still got in your head your angles, your movement, your tap. Relentless pressure brought forth neutralizations to those angles. There's three ways to neutralize angles. Dance with your partner, which is what Lopez did. He danced with Lomachenko. When Lomachenko went to give him angles, he would give opposite angles and remain in front of the man. That's one. That's the prettiest one. There's distance. You can neutralize angles with distance by controlling the distance of your opponent. If you can control your opponent at the distance in which you feel comfortable, he cannot give you angles, especially when he's the shorter man. He cannot. Even if he's attacking, if you're still under control of a distance as he's attacking, impossible for him to give you angles. And the third one is if you know how to cut the ring with relentless pressure, angles are not always going to be there. Now, the problem that Lomachenko is going to have is not only the bigger, taller, strong, longer arm Nakatani. The problem is Nakatani wants you to come in and hit him so that he can continually throw punches at you. Nakatani's going to put himself there to get hit as he did to Verdejo, a well-prepared Verdejo, and ran him out of energy. Granted, Verdejo doesn't have the skills of Nakatani. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about stamina here. I'm talking about endurance here. You need to stop hating on Nakatani from the Yarikawa clan. You need to.
I have ninjas show up to my house and show swords and shit. Yo, what'd you say about Nakatani? Like, whoa.
Real, dude. No, but seriously, this is a good fight for Nakatani. In my opinion, a bad fight for Lomachenko to come back after a surgery. It truly is.
Right. Look, that is the X factor, the shoulder. Right. I'll give you that.
No,
you know what I mean? But it is an X factor in terms of like what if it goes out? You know what I mean? But here's what I'll say, man. It goes back. You guys got to listen to the round table. It gets heated there too. You know what I mean? And look, Raw's mad. He wants to talk to me about it. It's all good. You know what I mean? But in all seriousness, look, a couple of things. I love Nakatani. Okay. As soon as he got that win over Verdejo, like I remember I did a video and I said, this guy is a samurai, like a warrior, you know what I mean? And he had this fighting spirit about him in the Verdejo fight. And he was getting dropped and Verdejo was throwing everything at him. The kitchen sink, the fridge, like anything, the spatulas, everything. And Nakatani just threw it right back at him. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's what he did. But Nakatani just isn't that dude you're describing, the whole keeping him at distance and being able to anticipate him getting he's gonna get turned, bro. He's gonna turn him. I appreciate a dude that's turning you and hitting you with body shots on the turn. He's gonna be turning, boom, getting hit in the solar plexus. Right, because Loma's a really good body puncher. People forget about that.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And Nakatani has a long torso, and he's going to be hitting them there.
He's got to get in there to hit him first.
He dropped Campbell that same way going to the body. Campbell's a 5'10", 5'11", I believe. Tall welterweight as well. Nakatani's going to give him about one more inch of a torso there to attack. And I just don't.
Pressure fight.
I think it's in a two-step because if we go back to the Salido fight, like you mentioned, right? Who was the one with all the experience? Salido, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who was the one just fighting his second pro fight? Technically, he had some other quote-unquote pro-style fights. We all know about that, right? The World Series of Boxing, whatever they call it. Not to confuse it with a tournament, but
right.
So I understand all that, but still, I mean, the experience definitely went to Salido by a mile. I remember I did a video back then, and I said, "Yeah, it's too early. He's going to turn around and lose this fight when you could just wait a couple more fights and he could beat Salido. But okay, you want to do it now because you want to break a record or whatever, right? Backfired, right? But go back and watch that fight. Or you remember that fight. What happened in 12th round?
No, I mean, Salido got hurt. Salido got hurt. No. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Exactly. He made a guy that was used to being the pressure guy, the one tiring guys out, be the one that was saved by the bell. And that was a 15-round fight. I think Lomachenko wins, even though it was only a second pro fight. Loma can go 12 hard rounds, bro. He can go 12 hard. He can go 12 hard. I never seen Loma like so tired and exhausted like that.
Mm-hmm.
I never seen Loma take more than 2 rounds off consecutive.
Who's more precise in their punches, Nakatani or Salido? Who has more precision? Who lands more?
That's debatable. That's debatable. It's debatable. You know why? Because we don't have a lot of data on Nakatani. Like, well, I can tell you that I think Salido's more durable than Nakatani. Way more durable. By far. It's not even close. Salido was battle tested. He'd been in war after war after war. I mean, Salido had a win over Robert Guerrero, which they overturned. I get that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doing something he shouldn't have done, et cetera, right? But, hey, Robert Guerrero 126 was no slouch, you know? So this is a guy that, you know, Marcus is the only one that really gave him a boxing lesson, but, you know, it is what it is, right?
Versus Gamboa, too.
Yeah, but did Gamboa knock him out? This is when Gamboa was knocking everybody out.
No, I'm saying he put up a good fight against Gamboa.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. He did. And Gamboa showed us he could box, which he eventually abandoned, but that's a different story, right? Yeah. He was outboxing Crawford for the first 4 rounds. People forget about that, you know?
Yeah.
But what I will say is I think there's more data to show that he was more durable at the time he fought Loma than Nakatani. Nakatani was out with an injury, bro, after the Lopez fight. That's why it took him so long to get back in the ring. I don't know if it was the orbital bone or the eye socket. If anybody knows the exact injury, you could put it in the chat. But he's been injured before as well, and he's very hittable. So the problem's going to be the jab, but you know how like Loma would like step aside and Lopez was able to like keep up with him. He would like turn with him, you know, dance with him, like you said, right?
Correct.
I don't think Nakatani can do that.
No. I never said that Nakatani is going to dance. I was just simply giving you the 3 most effective forms to control and avoid your opponents giving you angles. I think that the way Nakatani is going to avoid angles is with relentless pressure. And if he was to work from now, just work on the jab. Work relentlessly on your jab. I'm not saying you're going to outmaster the jabber in Lomachenko. I'm simply saying use that jab as a tool to control distance in parts of the fight and use that jab to open the door to come and continuously apply the pressure. I seriously doubt that Lomachenko is going to want to hang in there and trade with Nakatani. I can see Lomachenko on his back pedal or trying to give angles, trying to outbox Nakatani. But the problem with Nakatani, as I said, he stays center, wanting for you to remember when I had Salas that he said there's 2 ways to counterpunch very effective. One is time your opponent after he throws his punches and counterpunch him, and the other one is counterpunching within counterpunching. That's what Nakatani does. He wants you to hit him, and as he's getting hit, his hand is already on your face as well. It's what he did to Verdejo. He's not there like, oh, I'm going to slip, and with my pressure, I'm going to counter. No, he's wanting to get hit so he can touch you up, so he can rough you up, and he's constantly applying pressure. Again, listen to the way I'm structuring this. It's a bad matchup coming back from an injury. This is an opponent that's going to demand everything from you. And at the end of the day, and Pacquiao can testify to this, anybody that has had shoulder injuries and surgeries can testify to this. Once they put the needles through your skin and manipulate your tendons, your muscles, your ligaments, yeah, you might fully recover, but your extensions are never 100%, ever again. Ever. You will forever deal with slight pains here and there. Your extension is never the same till the day they put you 6 feet under. It doesn't matter if you make a full recovery. Good matchup, good fight for Nakatani. Bad matchup for Lomachenko coming back from the injury. And that's the bottom line, because I say so.
No, I mean, look, I think he's going to get outboxed, bro. That's the way I see it. And maybe it's a bias. I favor the guy that's going to box over the guy that's going to pressure usually. And like, because if with a wild game plan with, like it'll be kind of like, do you remember like Chavez Jr. against Martinez?
What's up?
Martinez, what's
Go
up? Martinez was, all he was doing, he never allowed Chavez Jr. to plant his feet and shoot. And I feel like Nakatani needs to plant his feet to shoot a power punch, right? And Loma's not going to let him do that. He's always going to keep him moving. And when he throws, they're going to be more like arm punches, right, than anything. And I just don't think he's going to have the effect on Loma that people think. You know, I think Nakatani's going to get turned. He's going to get hit to the body. That's going to slow him down. I think Loma does have stinging shots, you know.
No, he does.
He does, and it's enough to keep you honest, you know, because, you know, it kept even Teofimo Lopez honest for a while, for about 3 rounds or so, until his dad told him, yo, go out there and, like, it's a 12th round, like, take over, you know what I mean? So that's just what I want to kind of say about that, you know what I mean? Nakatani has gone the distance with fighters that are nowhere near as good as Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't see how Lomachenko is a foregone conclusion. He has a lot of experience in Japan, and I give him credit for his win over Verdejo. Look, Verdejo, good fighter, but, you know, he knocked him down twice and all that, but he's still not like the knockout puncher people think. That's because he knocked down Nakatani.
No, of course.
Verdejo has about a 50-60% KO ratio, right, which is solid, right? But he's not exactly like knocking everybody out, you know? So I don't be surprised if Loma can sting him, you know, make his knees buckle a little bit, go to the body. Because that's what, if Loma hurts him, he's going to go to the body. He's not going to be headhunting, right? He's going to have the awareness to know that. Correct. So, and he's fought big, strong lightweight. That's all he's been fighting since he moved up to lightweight.
Do you think Lomachenko is the exact Lomachenko at lightweight that he was at 126 and at 130? No, absolutely not.
He's not, but he is more experienced. Look, right? Yeah.
The Lomachenko we've had at 135 pounds has had a good campaign against Campbell's. Didn't clean him out. Was getting touched a lot. Campbell did very good against Lomachenko. Cannot deny that. Right? He fought at Linares. Do I have to remind you that although he stopped Linares, was it an easy fight? No. We didn't see that angle working untouchable Lomachenko. In fact, he even went down against Linares, didn't he?
Well, Linares is a better boxer than Nakatani.
No. I'm not. No. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not comparing their skills here. Right. I'm simply saying that this is not the Lomachenko that we have envisioned for years. This is not the 126, 122, the 126, 100, the 126 pound fighter. This is not the elusive Lomachenko. This is a Lomachenko still trying to adapt to a lightweight division. Still, believe it or not, and he's that good that he was able to do pretty decent work with these fighters. The difference is the pressure. Linares is not a pressure fighter. Campbell's is definitely not a pressure fighter. Absolutely not. And then Lopez simply came and gave him a mix fight. You know, I'm going to put a little pressure here. I'm going to dance with you. I'm going to outbox you here. I'm going to make you feel my power. Lopez shot him down psychologically. People think, oh, you know, skills. No. The main thing in this fight versus Lopez was psychological. He came expecting something different on Lopez, and he tasted Lopez's power by the end of the second round. And after that, he took off for 6-7 rounds. He was never the same. He was trying to find ways to get in there without getting touched solid like he did. My whole thing is, I can kind of see a Lomachenko coming out of a shoulder injury, not performing as good as he could possibly perform, and a Nakatani just applying disgusting, relentless pressure. And also remember, we got to see how that jab from Lomachenko is going to look, because his shoulder was his jab shoulder, the right shoulder.
Right.
And so that's the key to open the doors. I just
No,
think
you're right, because look, even if he's good in training and during sparring, under fight stress, like in a real fight, right? Who knows what could happen? You know what I mean? So
See,
could his shoulder go out and this? Sure. And I agree, he's a live underdog. You know what I mean? I just think he's going to get outboxed. The live underdog is they're going to put a collar on him and he's going to walk him around the ring. That's what's going to happen. He's going to turn him. He's going to go to the body.
man,
Okay,
Glita, man. Oh my god.
Nakatani's feet are too slow for Lomachenko.
Mm-hmm.
They're too slow. The feet, his hand speed's pretty solid. But his style, the way he was going to have to change his whole style in order to move his feet faster. And that's not going to work. Like, he's got to be him at the end of the day.
Correct.
And I don't know. I just think he's being underestimated a little bit here. Loma's the one that's being underestimated, not Nakatani.
No. Don't twist my words. I'm not underestimating Loma. I'm simply saying he may not come being the Loma we're used to seeing due to the. I'm simply saying the fight was not the right time to make it. This is not the fight to make coming out of an injury. Hell no, this is not the fight to make coming out of an injury.
Got to give him more credit for that.
This is a no. Of course, the credit is there. Absolutely. I'm simply saying he's not going to bring his dog collar to the fight. He's not taking his dog for a walk.
Yeah, look, man, I have nothing but love. I'll be happy for Nakatani if he wins, right? But I think he's going to get outboxed.
You will have to come to my channel and offer a public apology to Nakatani if he destroys.
We'll have to bow to Nakatani. Look, man. Hey, shout out to Dave, man. The tsunami is coming, right? People are like, "Oh, what's Loma going to do about the tsunami?" Well, he's just not going to be there for the tsunami. You know what I mean? That's all. Like Loma's not going to go in there and just start like slugging it out with Nakatani.
No,
he's not going to give. Like
Verdejo,
that was Verdejo's mistake. Verdejo knocked him down, right? That probably, as weird as it sounds, them knocking down Nakatani so early was probably the worst thing that could happen.
No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because instead of going back to what set up the knockout to begin with, you fell in love with the. I'm going to keep going at him.
He thought he could go for the kill and get him out of there. Yeah,
right. Exactly. So Loma, man, he's going to take his time, and I think.
See, learn from Joanny Diaz. Look, it's what I've been telling you. I'm not saying that Nakatani is better than Loma. I'm simply saying because of the type of fighter Nakatani is, I think this is just the wrong match to put the man against coming out of an injury. Why are people calling me today?
All right. It's hilarious. I have that same ringtone. All right. I never bothered to change my ringtone.
Look. What was I telling you earlier about Nakatani's jab?
He's got a good jab.
Now he's got a good jab, huh?
No, he does. But my thing is, like, here's the thing, right? The only problem with Nakatani is the jab he throws is a really good jab, and he brings it back like he should and all that. So that's the one thing he does do, but
he knows
he doesn't have an arsenal like that when it comes to that specific punch. I'm talking about the jab, right? There's guys that can can bring the jab from down low, right? So from this angle, or they can bring it up top, or like a Joyce go like this, right? Like whatever, or the hammer fist that you call a jab, but like to bring it up top on the shoulder, down low, like if you're bending the knee and you shoot it up, like Nakatani just has one way he throws a jab. It's a well thrown jab, but usually guys like that. And again, I got to take it back to it. You remember? I forget the name of the guy, but he fought Sergio Martinez. He was like this Eastern European guy. They call him the Razor. He had like a really good jab, right?
I might have been away from the YTBC.
Yeah. If anybody remembers that name, just put it in the chat there. But Martinez basically figured out this guy throws a really good jab, but if I just give him movement, give him angles, and then he started shooting it from the hip and beating him to the jab, right? Then then hey, like I think that's what Loma's going to do. He's going to figure out, what, this guy, he shoots the jab really from like an upright or he kind of leans forward position. You know what I mean?
I just
And
want
he
to
uses it to kind of, there you go. Sergey Dernick, or whatever, however you pronounce that, was known to have a really good jab. All right. But hey, I don't know, man. Look how open he is, bro.
No. I don't want you to look at the opening. I want you to look at the way he's fighting. Look at the relentless pressure. Look at the body work. Look at the body work from
When
this
he
man.
throws the left to the body, right? He's upright.
Correct.
You notice that? When he throws the left to the body, he's like upright.
Is open, only effective against a fighter just as tall as him or close to his height.
I'm picturing him in the ring with Loma. Is what I'm doing when I see this. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing.
Oh, brother.
Who is that guy? Who's that guy he knocked out?
Jab.
I know who he is. Come on. I lost money.
That's the guy that cuts my grass on the weekends. It's the guy that cuts my grass on the weekends.
And Nakatani, again, I'm not saying he's a bum or anything like that. And I'm not saying he's not going to have success in the fight. Of course he's going to have success, right? There's Zinnik. Sorry for the misspelling. Okay. Yeah, he was known to have a really, really good jab, but it was neutralized, right? You have to have an arsenal with your punches, right? You can have a really good right hand, but if all you have is a straight right, if you don't have an overhand right or something like that, if you don't have an arsenal with it, then
of course
you could be neutralized. Well, what happens if somebody takes it? Well, what happens if Loma, which he is capable of, takes away the jab? What now? Well, what does Nakatani do?
And how do you take away that jab? Loma doesn't
duck low, slip, turn
correct.
To the side.
But then what if Nakatani works on distance? You can neutralize angles. He can.
If he does that though, right?
He can. Which
then
is
he can't pressure him if he's working on distance though.
No. Hold on.
Oh, is he going to pressure him or is he going to work on distance?
No, he can do everything. You can work to do everything during the fight. You can apply pressure from the mid range, from the outer, from the long range. You can maintain distance. By maintaining distance, you automatically somewhat neutralizing counterpunching from the shorter fighter, somewhat already neutralizing angles. I'm not saying Nakatani is this mean machine. I'm simply saying the type of fighter he is. It's just it's just not the right fight to make coming out of an injury. It's just not.
Look, I'll be honest with you. When I heard he's coming back, and I heard the Chief Funky called me, you called me. I said, Nakatani? Like, is that the guy you're gonna come back against? I don't know about that because under fight stress, that things can happen to your body, and including an old injury. You know what I mean? It could come back. You can, under all that adrenaline, you could shoot it in a way that maybe you shouldn't have, and boom, before you know it, your shoulder's out. You know what I mean? But I just think he's going to be okay. Look, the reason I brought up the fact that is he going to work distance or is he going to pressure him, right? The reason I'm saying that is because the time he's trying to work the distance, he's going to give Loma plenty of time to take some deep breaths and take a little bit of a rest. That's all he's going to be doing at that moment. And then he will then allow, if he's trying to gauge distance, right, and he's using his jab to keep Loma at bay, who's moving, who has much superior foot speed, superior hand speed, okay, superior movement to Nakatani, right? And I'll say Nakatani has superior height, okay, and we can definitely argue that has something that you can't grade on paper, which is that will. I get that. You know what I mean? So he brings that to the table. That samurai will, and I get it, right? But when he's in there, right, what I picture, honestly, I picture Nakatani coming out trying to establish a jab, right? I picture Loma slipping through the jabs. He might get hit with a couple of them, right? And then I see him, turning Nakatani, going to the body, right? And upstairs, and then it's going back. Nakatani going back to trying to use his height, right? And I just see wash, rinse, repeat. And then somewhere in the middle of the fight, Nakatani's going to say to himself, him or his corner is going to say, look, this isn't working. We need to go at him. And he's going to go at Loma, and he's going to smother his work, right? He's going to have some success, but Loma's going to be tagging and taxing, right? That long torso on the inside when Nakatani does get on the inside, and then he's going to turn him, right? He's going to be behind Nakatani a couple times in this fight. He's going to be behind him, and the rest going to be, oh, break. It's going to happen. Like I'm telling you right now, it's going to happen.
Okay.
And I think it will be a tough fight. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be tough in terms of, you have an opponent with a will to win in front of you, and you're going to have to get through 12 rounds. I get that. But I still think Loma's going to win like 10, 11 rounds in the fight.
Look at Giovanni, which makes a lot of sense. Maybe maybe Loma is trying to make a point to get a rematch with Lopez, but I doubt Lopez is going to give him a rematch because of Loma not wanting to put a rematch clause in the contract. But you never know. But I'll just go and tell you this, D-Style. Today, man, you need to go to the doctor once you leave this.
What?
Because you've taken a worse beating from the chat than you have from me. The chat here has been telling you about the same things I've been telling you, the jab, how he can back you up, how he's telling you all these possibilities.
Look, I know you agreed with me on this anyway. I know we were on the same page, I'm pretty sure, from what I remember. But yeah, I heard a lot of things from people. Oh, Donaire, the power. Oh, he's going to get Reagan down. And I told people, yeah, he's going to outbox him.
Oh, no, of course.
No, but what I'm saying is, yeah, the people in the chat came at me then. It's like this, guys. Check it out. Who's that? Oh. There we go.
My dude, listen. I get what you're saying, and with a fighter with the quality of Lomachenko, it's always the possibility that he can come back and still shock the hell out of us, and do a lot more than to kind of reply to A-Rod's comment here. The difference between Earl Spence injury and Nakatani and Lomachenko's injuries is the shoulder. I want to see what that jab is going to look like coming back from that. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you now. Yeah, you froze for a moment. I thought you were thinking. I was like, hey, he's pondering this one.
No.
You were like this, like.
No, because I froze there.
Okay.
Anything can happen in this fight, man. To be honest with you, I just think me as a matchmaker, me as a promoter, I wouldn't have given them that fight coming back from.
I do agree with that, though.
From the surgery. Now, Joe Smith is not going to have the opportunity to showcase his skills this weekend due to his opponent having COVID, and he was told that today.
Oh, dude!
Like,
what was sad?
There was
family members of his in airplanes on their way to the fight. I really hope the promoters, etc., compensate the people that spent all that money.
Hell, I ain't gonna compensate nobody. That's. Hey, man, a promoter is a salesman. When you go buy a car and you tell him, "Yo, can you fill up the tank so I can at least buy the car with a full tank?" Oh yeah, I got you. Once you sign that dotted line, dude, my manager didn't allow me, my bro. You're leaving the car lot straight to the gas station, brother.
I was looking forward to that fight too, man.
Me too, man.
I'm glad we got some boxing this weekend. It seems like
I
was struggling. I do like 12-hour shows, and I'm like, man, I gotta figure something to talk about. Bruce Lee, like, you know what I mean?
Who you fired up?
Yeah, it's so frustrating, isn't it? Like this whole COVID thing, like,
yes,
because we don't know if fight's on till like you see the two dudes in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, you could hear that morning, like, oh, so like. Let's say do Ramirez Tater and we're all pumped. Like, yeah, boxing give what we want, undisputed. Let's do it, right? That morning, like that Saturday morning, they could come out and be like, yeah, Ramirez tested positive for COVID in the last test we did. We just got the lab result. Shit. And then the fight's canceled. It's a wrap.
Bro, when I seen the video and I seen when the news was, at first he's excited because he's FaceTiming Tyson Fury, the king, the real king of the heavyweight division. Yo, King is here. the real king of the heavyweight division. And Tyson Fury's telling him, go out there and beat this dude up. And then they're like, yeah, dude, your fight's not happening. Picture this: on top of already being stressed due to the cut, on top of already being stressed, not seeing your daughter in over a year, on top of you already being stressed due to the dieting, on top of you probably already being dry, not drinking water until after the weigh-in, they come and hit you with that. You could see in his eyes the tone of his, oh, well, I guess I'll just have me a big lunch now. I haven't seen my daughter in over a year. Like, you could see how the emotion just.
I haven't even seen that video, and I'm already like,
oh, dude, it's bad. It's bad. JC in the building. Welcome, my brother. It's bad. And the thing is, man, is like, I was kind of looking forward to see this guy perform. He deserves it. I mean, I'm always ruling for the guy that's always struggling with a job. And I'm telling you, my dude, this phone, I'm worse than a prostitute right now, man. I get some more calls, man. But I was really, really looking forward to JC says twerk until this day. Oh, dude, I'm telling you guys. The thing is, man, like you said, there's a lot of things right now that's being prevented from boxing because, and I gotta be real with you. There's still a lot of rules and regulations I don't understand, don't get, make no sense to me. But I'm no expert when it comes to that. But I think the promoters should have had a B plan. Listen, your opponent dropped, but we got this dude. You want it? Yes or no? Boom. But now the fighter did through an entire training camp, put his family on a plane to come, and the fight's over before it even began. And you as a promoter don't even have a B plan lined up when that is one of the most effective things to do during this pandemic is always have that guy, yo, D-Style's fighting G-Funky, but I want you to train because any of them come down with a COVID, I'm giving you a call. Oh, okay, cool. They didn't, bro. They didn't have anybody lined up in case something like this happened. I mean, in this time, this should be something that is to be expected for every fight, even if it doesn't happen. You always want to have somebody ready. Because now you got a fighter that went an entire training camp, put his body through torture, dehydrated himself, cut weight, separated himself from the family, separated himself from the things he likes to do to make weight, and he comes in to get weight, and you tell him, yeah, you can go back home and get yourself a good lunch. Like, how the hell does that make sense? Like, I would understand that at a local level here, you know, with some low life promoter, but at that level, man, I don't know. To understand what they really go through, you got it. Yep.
They should still get something, man. Like if a fight gets canceled, like I'm not saying pay them the fight purse, like what they were gonna make, but even if it's $10,000 or something, because let me tell you something. There's a guest. I'm not gonna say who it is that I'm working on getting on HCP, and I was on the phone with one of his people, and they're like, let's do it after the fight because he's on high stress right now, and we're really focused on the fight.
Correct.
And then one thing he just offhand mentioned was, we just spend $10,000 this week on sparring partners, and that's what they spend.
No. And that's a low budget. Remember, listen, you realize that David Tua made a lot more money to be a Holyfield sparring partner than he ever did in any of his fights. Did you realize that?
Yep.
People don't realize the expenses. People don't realize the stress. People don't realize the struggle that you have to go through as a professional and as an amateur. Because as an amateur, sometimes you got to stay in shape for 5 consecutive days. You got to stay in weight because you might fight 3 times today. You might fight once every single day for 5 consecutive days. And so boxing is a very stressful sport.
I mean,
and that's
imagine,
man. I know. Trust me.
Just imagine, like the money aside. That's a big thing. Don't get me wrong. That's how you feed your family. But not everyone's a millionaire, guys. You know what I mean? But just imagine, like you invest in this, right? Because your investment. Hey, I'm going to go to the fight. I'm going to get my purse, and then there's more money in the back end if I win in the future, etc. Right? But you're gonna fight. You're like, you already have the budget set, right? You're like, hey, no problem. I'm gonna fight this dude, and then from there we'll split the cost, whatever, right? You pay, and let's take 10,000 a week. So if you just add that up, right? But let's just say 10,000. You're already 10,000 in the hole.
That's true.
Just think about that.
That's true.
But leave that aside. All the hard work.
Yeah.
Not seeing your family.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is, to me, like worth more than money. You know what I mean?
Correct.
So to be away from your family, to be away from your loved ones, to be, stuck in a gym because that's a sacrifice you're making because you understand that, But, and then just to be told a week off on the lead up to the fight on a Thursday? Hey, fight canceled.
Bro, it's nasty. You the chat's still slapping you, bro. I'm telling you, you're gonna need psychology after this video. They still after your neck, bro.
Let me tell you something, Raw. I'm made of titanium, bro. I'm good. You know what I mean? Like words like pang, bing. You know what I mean? I'm like that X-Men guy that turned into steel shit. That's me. You know what I mean? Bro. Let me tell you something. I got the thickest skin on you too. All right? Never see me like get all like, bent out of sheep and shit. I'm good. But what I'm worried about is you guys when Nakatani loses. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden, oh my God, how could that be? The fight was fixed. Usually Nakatani is very aggressive, and he wasn't this time. They fixed it for Loma.
Nah, man. What I'm worried about is your emotional state after you have to come to my chat and offer a public apology to Nakatani. I'm worried about your emotional state after that. But you good. I'm your homie. I got your back.
I'll tell you what. I'll come on and admit I was wrong. But I'm not going to say my prediction was wrong. But I'm not going to apologize.
I'll check up on you. I'll send you some text every other hour just to make sure your emotional balance is.
I'm going to be texting you during that fight, bro.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like after every hey, well, what's up, bro? What happened to your boy? Hey, Raw, what's going on, Raw? Yo, Raw, why don't you answer my text, bro? We're around 3.
I'm telling you, man. No, look, in all seriousness, my beef is more with the lack of preparation by the promoters. In the case of Joe Smith, with this pandemic, man, you can't take it lightly. You gotta have a guy lined up always. You gotta have a guy lined up always. Look, now I can guarantee you that they'll probably call him in a month or so. Hey, get ready. We found you. You know how hard it's to prepare your body for another fight after going through an entire camp and not fighting, getting yourself to that dehydration, and then you go home for a month and they call you and they expect you to be back in the gym after that. Not every fighter can do that. Not everybody does it
that way, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a destruction to your body. And Joe Smith is not at the end of his career. You got to understand, he still has future plans. He still wants to continue fighting. I just think there should be some type of reward to Joe Smith because at the end of the day, COVID's not to blame. It's the promoter. Promoter failed to have a fighter lined up. This is to be expected. So I don't know, man. I have no idea. Let me see what Nacho Millions here says. What Notch Millions here says. I saw a video on Nakatani versus Nakatani Akaka TV. I saw a video on Akaka TV saying Bob Arum is degrading Teofimo Lopez. Tio needs to leave Top Rank. I think every fighter should leave Top Rank. Just my opinion.
He just wanted to say Akaka.
Yeah, with all respect to the young homie Xander Zayas, I know he loves Top Rank, but I think every high level opponent fighter, once they reach a certain level, hey, buy your contract down, get the hell out. Listen, it's not just opinion. We got paper track of older than 15 years.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, I feel that way about all promoters.
Yeah,
not just Top Rank. Because
But have
Top
you
Rank's in the business to make money, and if you buy out your contract, if they feel okay, well, in the end, we made a profit with you, and at the same time, we gave you a quote unquote farm system to build yourself, right? Because Top Rank has the matchmakers, they'll do the promotion. They got the TV deal with ESPN, so just being with them, you're going to be on ESPN Plus. They're going to find fighters for you that they could potentially fight. But like you said, once you reach that moment where you're like, you know what, people already know who I am. We're in the age of social media. I don't need a promoter to tell me, to tell people who I am.
Right.
I agree 100%. At that point, you should become what a boxer should be, is an independent contractor. You know what I mean?
Boxing in the building. What's up, homie?
What's going on, a Punch?
We can let it go into your video now, Punch. So if you have time to come in, you could, because we're going to switch the topic here now to the other side of the story that was offered by the Brelands last night in your channel. So,
oh shit. Nah, I don't want to talk about anything now. I want to talk about that.
This is probably the last time I'm going to cover the whole Deontay Wilder stuff, because I feel like, we do need to talk about it, but I feel like our defense has already been made. Our case has been made. I think right now the one looking bad is Wilder for accusing without accusation, without evidence, and not presenting any evidence, and really and truly shooting himself in the foot, contradicting himself in every single damn interview that he gives. But in the same manner that I was happy to see Gabriel Montoya on G-Funk's channel and your show, in the same way that I was happy to see that, I was kind of happy to see Breland Jr. in Punch Drunk Boxing last night, because now we know that Breland wasn't paid to give that interview. It was his own son that said, yo, you better go out there and give these people an interview. Your name's being stepped on, and nobody here deserves an interview with you, so you better go over there. Now we know for a fact that Deontay Wilder still looking worse. Now looks even worse. Now we see why these other channels are sending out death threats to Breland, to Sugar Hill, to Punch, to everybody that doesn't believe the narrative.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
Because I've had my life threatened on the internet as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look, this is all I'm going to say. Simple as this. I know you're bluffing. That's number one. Number two, if I'm wrong, I'm in El Paso, Texas, and I own a Glock. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Right? If you cannot hang with a boxing discussion, right? If you're mad that your stupid little narratives are being destroyed, then too bad. You know what I mean? Like the moment you try to get violent and threaten people's lives and all that other bullshit, I already know you lost. Okay? You're a lost cause. That's number one. But I already know you're full of shit. Okay? It is annoying, man. So some people are just dumb, bro. There was have you read the statement released by Breland?
I have it, but I have been unresponsible enough not to read it. But at the end of the day, I kind of knew what he meant when I told you guys on my previous live, like when for example, I'll say names. I don't have a problem with the Boxing Voice or Ness. I don't have a problem with them at all. I actually enjoy their work. I tune in every morning as well, unless one of you guys is in or Punch is in. Look, when people are trying to make a case for Wilder based on the fact that the Breland said he could beat all these people, the way they're presenting it is fake, bro. Breland never mentioned himself as a welterweight stepping into the ring with a heavyweight and beating him. Breland is talking as a fighter in the same manner that I'm watching a heavyweight fight, in the same manner that I disregard weight, that I'm looking at that fighter in the same way as me, or vice versa. And I'm like, man, I got more skills than that fool. I can beat him. That's basically what Breland was talking about. And then for them to try to make that a literal comment just to make a case for Wilder. Oh, so when I started reading Breland, clarifying that, I didn't need to read it. I knew what he meant from the get-go. Matter of fact, I even spoke on that the day before he even came up with that post. So again, it's just boxing's got too much good going on to keep talking about Wilder. Like, I feel more comfortable now that we have done all these live streams, all these live shows, presenting all of this common sense thoughts in regards to this case, having the Brelands on the British channel, having Breland and Punch channel. Now I'm comfortable. Now, in the same manner that some people know both sides of the story to the Margarito hand wrap, now I'm comfortable with the fact that people know what's really going on when it comes to the damn glove gate, water spike gate, referee gate, commissioner gate, all kinds of gate. The oxygen was heavy that day. My suit was designed by Wakanda's metal, so it was too heavy. All the damn excuses that he has brought forth, and at the end of the day, it's done nothing, man.
Look,
Nothing.
I don't know why Kevin Iole released the tape of Wilder saying that, because at first because he's a writer, he's not a YouTuber like us, right? So he does the interviews, and what a lot of these boxers need to understand is that they record the interviews so they can go back, right? So when they're writing it, they could be like, "What did he say again?" And hold on, let me quote him right, right? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So if there's ever like someone that wants to sue them, or like, "Oh, I'm going to sue you," and whatever it is, right? Now, depending on the state laws and stuff, you could have certain states where you have to ask permission to record. But my point is, I don't know the story behind it, but I think he released it because he was being accused of lying. That Wilder never said that, but he clearly did say that.
No, I get you. 7:30. I guess I hope I didn't chop your name. I get what you're saying. That's why I was saying this is probably the last time I'm going to talk on this, because it's that's it. The proof is in the pudding. Yeah. He's been exposed. Not only has he been exposed as a liar, as a hypocrite, he's been exposed in the manner that, no, you don't need to be perfect just for 12 seconds or 1 second. You have to be ready for war. So
we have a lot of armchair investigators on YouTube, right? Let me just tell you guys, if you were that good as an investigator, you wouldn't be on the internet making YouTube videos. Okay, they would hire you to go, uncover and get evidence for murders and stuff like that, right? But that aside, let's say let's think like an investigator at the very least, right? Go step by step. I found it troubling, right? And the name is slipping my mind, but of the guy that's a friend with Wilder and says he's part of Team Wilder and all that, who was on Punch's show, right, a couple days ago. I played the clip on HCP. I found it very, very troubling when I heard him say that Jay Diaz was not in the locker room when they put on the gloves. Tay Jones, thank you, Puerto Rican Rum. And the reason I found that troubling is the following, right? Tay Jones has been on multiple platforms that endorse and push Glovegate for hours on panels making all these accusations.
True.
And he didn't know that Jay Diaz was in the locker room when the gloves were put on. That is a very important piece of information. Okay? If a prosecutor had that information, they would have to give it to the lawyer before the court even starts.
Yeah, we'll have to be.
That's how vital that piece is. Like, oh, we got to show it to the lawyer because they're going to throw it out. I wouldn't show it to the lawyer. All right? Look, Jay Diaz was there. There's video evidence. There's just all this stuff, right? But what does that tell me? That tells me that there's people just looking for confirmation bias. They're not looking for the facts. They're looking for confirmation bias. What makes them look guilty? Let's just say that. What's the narrative? Let's just go with that, right? And what starts to happen, you create this group think and you start repeating the same things over and over again, whether it's a 10-hour. Notice those streams, if it's 3 hours, 2 hours, 10 minutes, they say the same things over and over and over again. That's what they do. Tay Jones said he knows. He literally said these things. He said, I know everything. I've seen all the evidence, he said. Okay. I've talked personally to Wilder about everything. Right. I already know about all the discussions that were held with Wilder and all the trainers. Right. In fairness, he did not. I don't believe he accused Breland of drugging Wilder. Okay.
No, he didn't.
He just both sides it. He both sides it. Like he basically said, well, Breland says this, Wilder says that. I don't know. I'm not going to drag anybody's name under the mud, so I'm going to stay out of it. Right. That's what he did. Right.
Yeah.
But which is fine. But look, he didn't know that the head honcho, the head trainer, was in the locker room when they were putting on the gloves on Tyson Fury.
Correct.
What does that tell you guys? I wasn't trying to like get the guy. I just felt, you know what? This has to be put to light.
Have you seen those two working the mitts? Working the pads?
Let me tell you something, bro. All I did was share that video. I put the eyeballs on it, right?
Yeah.
Some dude accused me of being a racist.
Of course, you're a racist. You're all that. But look at this comment here. The Wilder excuse makes Mark makers open the door to every boxer fan base to come up with a conspiracy theory for every loss, and I think that's true. I mean, Lomachenko did say that Teofimo bought the judges. That was another sad excuse. Okay. That was another sad excuse. So,
and I want to tell you this, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a timeline guy, and I think you'll know what I mean by this, right? I follow the timeline on this shit. You know what I mean? A lot of the guys pushing Glovegate right now and all that, and push even the Spikegate, the new Watergate. You know what I mean? Even those guys. After the fight, right? Like Wilder loses, and then he says that about the suit, right?
Yeah.
A lot of those guys were actually arguing that it's not an excuse and it's a reason. And Wilder just giving you the reason why his legs were shot. That's not an excuse. An excuse is when it's not true. But in this case, it is true. And they did videos about that.
True.
You think I forgot about those videos? Now, once they figured out, you know what, this is embarrassing. Then they switched it up. Then they said the media lied. He never said that.
True.
Well, now I'm glad Kevin Iole had the audio, because if it was just in print, you could just say he lied. I didn't say that. He misconstrued what I said. I didn't say that at all. No, well, the audio's out there of you literally saying that. Okay? Yep. And I got more receipts for you guys. I got damaging receipts from a lot of these channels pushing this and the shit they were saying about that. Okay? But, you know, I just keep them in the holster. You know what I mean? That's all.
That's true. Well, listen, man, like I said, this is the last time we're speaking on Wilder. At least me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
This is the last.
I'm exhausted of it, bro.
Yeah. This is the last time I'm speaking on Glovegate, Water Spike Gate, Heavy Oxygen Gate, referee drinking a cocktail gate.
I might take a break from it, but
the only way I will even bring this topic up is if, in fact, it goes to court, which I think it should. It will force the truth out, right? Maybe if some more damaging accusations come out, I might take nip and picks out of it. But dedicating live streams specifically for this is not worth it. Deontay Wilder is not worth that much of my time, even with his millions. Yes, screen record this section and make me to be the racist guy that I've never been. Fine with that. He ain't worth my time. He's definitely not worth my time. He's definitely not worth my subscribers' time. These subscribers of mine take time out of their day to sit in front of the computer or the phone to listen to me. Or maybe they're driving and listening to me. I don't want to clog their ears with wax anymore. This is earwax to them.
Yeah.
But I did feel that it was an important video last night that Punch, Breland's son came on to Punch and disclosed a lot of the information that they disclosed. I advise everybody to go over there and check it out.
You should have seen the confidence, bro. That
Oh.
Tate Jones, how confident he sounded when he said he wasn't in the locker room when
He wasn't nowhere to be found in that day. Nowhere.
Like JD's was there. Who cares that Suleiman wasn't in there? Who cares? Like JD's was there.
Facts.
Like he was literally there. So my question has always been, if all these accusations are true, how in the hell is JD still in the camp? If all of it is true, if you have, by the way, they keep saying they have the evidence, but like, and we're gonna put it out one day. Like the day of reckoning. That is a tactic, bro. That's what you keep telling people.
It's a psychological tactic.
It's a psychological tactic. That's all it is. People keep falling for it. But I'm already seeing people crack, bro. Like, I need to see the evidence already. Like, like this, that, and the third. So
now look,
at the end of the day, man, it's all bullshit,
Facts. Now look, before we close up here, I'm gonna tell this to those of you lurking in the dark. I know there's at least 3 of you here. You have not posted anything, and that's fine. I wish you would. Go ahead and copy this. And I will tell you this. I'm not touching on this subject again because I think you guys are full of crap. I think everything that you guys present is dumpster juice, like my man G Funky says. I think the accusations hold absolutely no weight at all because there is no evidence to back it up. If you truly about it, bring forward some evidence. Have your boy come onto your channel, since he's really close to you guys, because you guys are the ones that are constantly polishing his boots. Have him come to your channel, drop at least one factual evidence, and make us look bad. Make us look bad. But I believe it's not going to happen. And I believe it's not going to happen for the very same reason I believe Deontay Wilder will never take these people to court. And it's for the simple fact that there is nothing to take him to court for. Right. There's nothing that will prove these allegations or these accusations to a jury beyond a reasonable doubt. Absolutely nothing. And so
there's more evidence in the Margarito case than this. You know what I mean? There's nothing here. There's nothing to see, folks. Don't you understand? You can look at it everything you want,
Bro,
at the end of the day.
We've called these people out too. I've texted a few of them that I have their number, their personal contact information. I have it. I've texted them. I've got them links 20 minutes before I go live. Listen, I'm going to be talking about this. If you're truly about it, there's the link. Come on in and just make me look bad.
Right.
It hasn't happened.
And you know what's been happening, Ranger? A lot of guys like the cycle's the same, and like the whole the day of reckoning, it's coming. It reminds me of like those preachers that tell people, hey guys, we're getting ready to go to heaven. The end of the world is coming. Just give me your bank account, all your money, because you can't go to heaven if you have money in your bank account. You know what I mean? Like no, you got to give your money to the church. You got to give me all your possessions. But the day's coming. We're gonna go to heaven, though. You know what I mean? And the people do it, and then the day's coming, and then what happens? Nothing happens, right? There is no day of reckoning. There's no end of the earth. Nothing like that, right? You had the one guy that had people literally drink like the Kool-Aid.
Jones,
right? Jones. There you go, right? So you guys, you keep the day of reckoning. It's coming. It's coming. Oh, the information is coming. Watch. It's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. First of all, ask yourself 2 questions. If the evidence is going to come, what they already have out there, are you saying that's not evidence? Because is that the smoking gun or not? Because
what these people have is no evidence. That's why Breland is not in court. That's why Fury is not in court.
exactly.
That's why the Nevada State Athletic Commission is not in court. That's why the referee is not in court. That's why nothing has gone
So
legally.
that's what they have to ask themselves.
Because there is no evidence. And
but what they have to ask themselves is the following, right? I'm trying to get into their mind. Ask yourself this. I know you guys are listening. Just you don't have to say anything in the chat. Okay, you could keep doing what you do, but just listen. Okay, just listen. Why would they keep saying all the stuff's about to come out while simultaneously making videos saying that there's already evidence that he cheated? Like you have to think about that. Second, every single time they were giving up, right when it was close, like the people believing it are already at that point of like, man, I don't know about this, bro. Like they got to do something. So what happened the first time? Because I was here through the whole thing. The first time we kept like Wilder came out and people were already saying, I don't care. You know what? Whatever. I just want to see the third fight. Well, I don't know. I don't know what happened, right? Then Wilder came out and endorsed Glovegate.
that's what made it work for me.
And then it revived it. Bro, I'm not going to say names because, and I hope you guys understand this, because if someone says to me in confidence on the phone, I don't reveal it, even if they were bullshitting me or whatever, okay? I have texts from people that will be very damaging to them, but I'm not going to release them because I'm a person of integrity. I do not release private information like that. But I spoke to people that were already on the phone with me, okay? Already telling me, you know what? I think it's all a bunch of bullshit, bro. Like I was believing it because I wanted to believe in the champ, and they were telling me this and that, and they were ready to just. I don't see any evidence. The evidence is. I was told the evidence was going to come out. I don't see the evidence anywhere. And I'm not talking one person. I'm not talking two people. I'm talking over 10 people that told me this on the phone. Something very similar. Once Wilder came out with that video, all of a sudden I saw them on YouTube. Same dudes pushing the shit. The champ came out. He confirmed it. They cheated him. Come on.
They're king.
Like, right? You're going to tell me one thing on Monday and then another thing on Tuesday on YouTube. So I found that troubling. And then it started happening again. People losing faith in the day of reckoning, right? So, it's going to come out. It's going to come out. Watch. So what happened? What happened recently? Wilder came out and said all these things about Breland to revive it, to keep it alive, man. Look, at the end of the day, Raw, I'm not even mad at the big channels that do it.
I'm mad at the stupid people that believe it.
That's what it is. Hey, do your thing. Get their money. I ain't even mad at them. I'm just being honest. Because I can, speak the shit on my platform, man. You can speak shit on your platform. We can all speak the shit on our platform. And whether people like it or not, man, we're growing.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Whether they like it or not, like we're going to keep speaking this side. Because it's at the end of the day.
Look.
So, that's all I want to say about that.
Okay. Now, look, people. To close. First, I want to appreciate every single one of you that took your time to be here. Remind you to just follow me in my social media platform, Raw Boxing TV, together at Instagram, just Raw Boxing TV. Same thing on Twitter. I respond to all of my tweets. I'm not the type of guy that just ignores it. I reply to all of my tweets. If you need to get a hold of me there, that's the way to do it. Listen, I think the proof is in the pudding. We made our case. Our case is so strong, it's still standing. Even when we go on silence, our case is so strong that people are still going to be demanding evidence. And unlike D-Style, I do believe on the day of reckoning. I don't believe on giving all my money to a church or a preacher. I think that's pretty stupid. It's not even biblical. But I'll tell you this, guys. I've told you this a couple of times already, and I'll tell you this every single time if I have to. As an individual, you have your responsibility to believe things, analyze your things, and come up with your own conclusion. You have the freedom to do so. I don't want you to believe what I say. Ever. Never believe what I say until you can come up with your own investigation when I break a news, when I come up with an exclusive. But I want you to have the freedom to do your own investigation. That goes for everything. That goes for everything. It's really simple. Today, I put it like this. Notice how much division has been caused. Notice how much division. Why? Because a fighter lost a fight? Really? It's over for me when it comes to that subject. G-Funk, any last words, my brother, before we close?
T-style.
I mean, D-style.
Yeah, I got you. Shout out to G-Funky, by the way. Guys, check out the...
Yo, hold on. You know, I did the same to Zulem Urmina. I kept calling her Flaca. Life.
Oh, well, maybe she just thought you were complimenting her figure or something. I don't know, man. Oh, wow. Well, that's all right. Shout out to Flaca, by the way.
Yeah.
Hope to have her on the roundtable soon. Zulem as well, by the way. I haven't asked her, but she'll be a good guest. Go check out the Gabriel Montoya feature we have on G-Funky Boxing. That's the name of the channel right there. Go check that out, man. And like Ross said, have an open mind. You don't have to agree in the end, but take in the information that I know a lot of you don't know. Okay.
Nice.
Take in that information, and then you can actually come up with a better conclusion, right? And that's the way things should be. The problem that we have a lot on YouTube is people don't investigate or don't analyze the situation for what it is. Like, they don't start from like, let me gather the information and then formulate my conclusion, right? Like maybe I'll have a hypothesis and then maybe I'll have a conclusion, right? A lot of guys start with a conclusion and then they start looking for confirmation bias, right? You start trying to fill in the blanks to whatever suits your conclusion. And while you might be right sometimes when you do that, right? That's not the way you accurately assess things, okay? That's not how investigators do it. That's not how anyone should do anything in all reality, okay? You can't just go by a hunch. You have to analyze it for what it is, look at everything, and then come up with your conclusion. It's obvious to me that a lot of guys already have their conclusion, and then they go from there. You know, they fill in the blanks, which is how you end up with not even knowing JD's was in the locker room.
That is correct.
Okay? That's how that happens. If you would have started instead of the conclusion, you start down here with a hypothesis, and your hypothesis, nobody was in the locker room, right? The next step would be to investigate that and make sure that's true.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And then you see, oh, you know what? Never mind. JD's was in the locker room. Scratch that. Okay, let's start over. Right? That's the way things should be. Like, that's one of the first things you should have known. It shouldn't have taken some random dude on the internet like me to send Punch Drunk the picture to show you when you've talked to Wilder, they've shown you everything, and you didn't even know JD's was in the locker room. Correct. We have way too many people like that, bro.
Correct. I'll just say this in closing. To D-Style. If Nakatani loses to Lomachenko, I'll shave my beard.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And I wasn't planning on doing that.
I was thinking of a live pie bet.
What you mean?
Pie in the face, live on the air.
That's fine too. I'm all for it.
You want to do a pie bet?
I'll do a pie bet.
I don't have a beard. Like, look, my little shit. Like, I shave this every 3 days. You know what I mean?
I'll take.
I haven't put the work like you. You know what I mean? So I want to make it even. So
like Mayweather did, and I'll send them to you over FedEx on dry ice, and you can go get them installed. How's that?
Yeah, like. I mean, I could, maybe not like that, but I can grow a beard, but I don't. I shave every 3-4 days. You know what I mean? Like all the way, but. Pie bet live on the air. You got to take a pie in the face in front of the whole world.
That's fine with me.
And it'll be a pie of my choice too.
So no shaving the beard. Keep the beard. Just do the pie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, unless I start growing it now, I guess. But you know,
I mean, I'm TBE when it comes to a beard between you and me.
All right, yeah. You got me there. You and Maestro. I don't know. We'll see. You know. But yeah, let's do the pie bit, man. Like
Done.
Look at the Maestro Nakatani beat. What's the matter with you people?
Maestro, he doesn't know what he's talking about, Maestro.
Look, man, you're gonna take the pie in the face, and I think that the winner should get to pick the type of pie.
That's fine. You pick the pie, and if I lose that bet, I'll take the pie. I'll put my oldest son to smash that pie in my face live in front of the whole YouTube.
I like that because the son will show no mercy. Like,
No, my son ain't gonna show no mercy. He's just gonna put that damn pie in my face. So,
oh man, that's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
If I
and
win,
by the way, I don't want to hear they robbed.
No. I'm not coming out with no glove gate with no judges. None of that. I'm not coming out with any of that.
Smash that like button, guy. Like Raw's son's gonna smash that pie in his face.
Just if it takes place, people, be on the lookout for the live stream cover, because that is the night that
it's gonna be Raw.
If I lose the bet, I'm taking a pie to my face. If he loses the bet, he's also taking a pie to the face. But I'm gonna tell him what pie the day before he's gonna buy. I'm not gonna tell him yet. The day before the fight, I'm gonna tell him what pie to go out and get. So that's it.
Make sure not one of those hard pies. It's got to be like like
no. It's gonna be a pie. Yeah. It's gonna be a pie. Bottle of the bread, bro. Let's do it.
Put some whipped cream on it. You know what I mean?
Nakatani wins and said, "Listen, people, I really want to thank you for really giving me 2 hours and 16 minutes of your time today. I want to thank G-Funk for coming on, D-Style for coming on, giving you guys the other side of the story to the Margarito hand wrap case. Again, I want to recommend G-Funky's video. It's actually, if you go to my community, you'll see the link there. Make sure to click it. It'll take you to that. When they had Gabriel Montoya, the writer that investigated this whole you taking Lone Ranger? No, I'm taking Nakatani. But go over there, check that out, man. And again, if Nakatani Lomachenko takes place, be on the lookout for the live, because somebody in the Midwestern states is gonna take a pie to the face. That's a fact.
Right.
Rob TV, we are out.
Peace out.